Hello everybody. So this is me coming to you in likely my most vulnerable form. Makeupless, with my unruly Greek hair and sick, wearing a bathrobe. So this is how you know that my message today is going to be good, because this is how committed I was to delivering it. So, I got Boots here. Hi Booties. You want to say hi to the Facebook world as people come on in here? Hey, pay attention. What are you doing? What do you think he's doing, searching for? Oh, hey! Welcome to the land of the living. So, Conversations with My Cat in a Midnight Run-In with My Ego is the name of today's musing, because I had a really interesting realization middle of the night last night. And it hit me really hard. So I'm going to tell you guys a little story, and it's going to be super awesome. Let me know if you're out there. I have not been getting great feedback from Facebook in terms of who's watching. So if you're out there watching, please give me some love. But this is going to be really interesting, you guys. So last night I wasn't feeling well. So I was up a couple times in the middle of the night, and I was up the first time, and it's been a little bit chilly in our house. So when it is, Boots likes to snuggle. So first time I got out of bed, I woke up, it was around 3 in the morning, and I, got my bearings. I was just waking up. I was like, oh, what's going on? And I saw Boots snuggled up next to me, and I was like, oh, little guy, I'm going to have to move him. So I moved him to the side, and he ended up, running off and I think going to get a little snack in the middle of the night while I went to the bathroom. Fast forward 20 minutes or so later, and I'm back in bed, and I need to go to the bathroom again. This may be TMI, I apologize, but it's all relevant to the story, so bear with me. So I get up to go to the bathroom a second time, and he had curled himself right back up next to me and was cozied up, and I was like, oh, sorry, buddy, and I pushed him to the side, and I got out of bed. Well, third time, about an hour later, now it's around 4:30 in the morning, and he's really cozy, and I wake up again, third time, and I see him, and he's so cozy. And my ego immediately says to me, and I'm going to apologize in advance for your French, because I want to be really explicit here and share with you how dangerous our ego can be if we're not aware of it. And so I'm looking at my sweet little cat, and my ego, clear as day, comes to me in a voice, because it's the middle of the night, there's no other distractions, I had just woken up, and the voice was clear as day, and it said, don't move him, he'll think you're a fucking bitch. And I was like, whoa. Because one, my cat is unlike me in the fact, me and you, in the fact that he doesn't keep a filing cabinet of prior transgressions, or the fact that I'd moved him 2 times prior in the last hour. He loves me regardless of what how many times I move him, how many times I inconvenience him. When I leave, regardless of how long I'm gone, when I walk back through that door, he is so excited to see me. He is absolutely pumped to love me unconditionally. My cat is a perfect example of living in the now, okay? Right? Because he clearly doesn't have the cognitive ability that we do. But us living in a totally fear-based, constant, conversation with this voice in our head, it became clear as crystal at 4:30 in the morning for me when my ego told me that. Because I was like, wow, one, thanks ego for, that really nice self-perception. Talk about where my worthiness issues come from, right? That's what my ego considers me as. I'm here moving my cat for a 3rd time, and my ego gives me that. Right? It's no joke. This isn't kid stuff. This isn't games. My friends who ask for coaching and they wonder how to, deal with their ego, you learn to dance with your ego. It never goes away, my friends. I am a self-development, I feel guru. I eat this shit up. Granted, I do not know even 10% of what I would like to, so guru may be the wrong term, but I eat it up. I'm like a sponge. I freaking love learning all about self-development. But guess what? That ego in my mind has this filing cabinet that it tends to rifle through every time it gives me feedback in a negative way. And it keeps track of everything, fear-based, right? It doesn't keep into account how many times I have moved my cat in the history of our relationship, and he has loved me despite that. My ego is not like, oh, move him a 3rd time. He'll love you despite it. He'll love you more than like anything else on the planet, despite the fact that you're moving him 3 times in the last hour, and that's annoying for human beings. He's a cat. He'll love you. That's not the voice or what my ego's telling me, is it? No. It's constantly negative. It's constantly fear-based. So because in my life, at times, I've probably annoyed somebody or inconvenienced them, or maybe was, perceived as like a pain in the ass to them because I asked them to move on several occasions within a short amount of time. And because my ego keeps that file of fear-based shit that I carry around with me, it served me that on a platter last night at 4:30 in the morning. Don't move your cat. He's going to think you're a freaking bitch. And I was like, what? That's insane. And so my message to you guys today, I thought was worthy of coming to you in this form because it was such a dramatic realization for me. And if you don't have awareness around your ego, that can be really dangerous. It truly can. Because for how long did I listen to that voice in my head? And like let it affect me and let it just sit there and talk its garbage, constantly in the back of my head. So I encourage you guys, just awareness is huge. Listen to what that voice is telling you. When you start to actually listen to it, it can be shocking. And that's my ego voice that literally tells me those things after years of training and beating it down, or not really beating it down, but like combating it with a positive mindset. I'm unstoppable. I'm amazing. I am going to achieve everything I want. I am worthy. These are affirmations that I tell myself all the time to combat my ego, and yet that's what my ego still produces. So I just wanted to encourage you guys because when John and I get into an argument, for instance, my ego is the one rifling through that filing cabinet of past transgressions, pulling out all these files, and I'm giving you an analogy so it's easy to understand, but pulling out these files of garbage on John or a friend or whoever I may be into it with, right? And all of those prior fears and prior inconsistencies and inconveniences and whatever my fear is based on, all that comes up. So when John and I get into an argument and let's say he forgets to do something, well, it's not about the simplicity of him forgetting to do something, is it? And living in the now and just dealing with that problem. Because if I'm just living in the present and the now and accepting the fact and moving on from the fact that maybe John forgot to do something, that's peas and carrots. Like, we can move on from that, right? But when ego's at play and I have a fear-based mindset and maybe that forgetful chore that he forgot or something that was really minor maybe was compiled into the fear of him for feeling like he's going to forget something major like my birthday or meetings or dropping balls, and then maybe the 10 times he forgot other things are now being pulled up by my ego filing manager, who also is my biggest detriment. Right? So I'm just telling you guys this so that you can put yourself in this scenario, that these analogies hopefully help you to identify when your little ego is like here on your shoulder being a bastard, because that happens. And so even those of us who, try and maintain a really positive mindset, that little ego still comes out to play. And I wanted to remind you guys of that mine is still there and yours is still there, and it's never, I repeat, never going to go away. But your awareness around it, learning to dance with it, and learning to accept it for what it is and be able to shift from it is the game changer. So I encourage you guys, if you're watching, just joining now, please hop back onto the replay because this is a pretty funny story. Love you guys. We'll talk soon.